Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. We're virtual only. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number does work. I had a call the other day. It was wonderful. We are Beth Hassett. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence, the thought behind the thought. We don't just report on the news. We do revelation. We solve a little piece of revelation every week. We're basically working on the fifth seal this week and how it relates to Burning Man. So we're doing a recap of Burning Man. And I'm arguing that it's Moloch, and we'll argue based on deaths that it seems so. So the what got me down this road, I had not put two and two together yet, is this guy named Drew86 from Twitter, and that's his account there. And so he talks about all the deaths and all the other weird things that occur there, but the main thing is people have died there. And so the craziness and basically Burning Man is all about death and debauchery, and so I'm rather happy that he pointed out the death angle. So we'll look at that today. I still say we're doing human sacrifice to this day to Moloch. And so God warns about it in the Bible. I'm arguing that abortion, assisted suicide, sex surgery, Hitler's Holocaust, wars in general, many angles towards Moloch. And it's still the worship, the same old worship of Moloch. So and yes, you did see PP on that right-hand side there. So we do the philosophy of the end of days and the death and debauchery. There you go. You see the picture in the middle there. That's their prophecy, trying not to twist the Bible and trying to give you the news. Okay, so it was a total disaster because of the rain. So basically, 73,000 people showed up to a toxic lake bed that turned into a storm. We've had problems before, weird things before. 4,000 residents suffering blackouts. We had flooding in Las Vegas, which is in Central. And so why do I want to cover this again? Because of the death angle, not just the storm angle. So biblical washout for Burning Man. Interesting that they call it a biblical washout, and that's from the Sun, which is not a Christian publication. Counterculture Burning Man Festival faces biblical washout. Very interesting. So they trudge through the sloppy mud, and it's basic. It's not acidic, and so that can kill. That can scald the bodies, things like that. So the floods from storms swept through the Nevada desert. Revelers were urged to shelter in place, conserve food, water, and other supplies. And so Burning Man 2023, according to Mike Adams, Burning Man event shows accelerating degeneracy of left-wing American culture, dominatrix events. I can't say what it is. You could read that in the pink there. Rapes, drug use, filth, trash. That is what characterizes Burning Man, according to Mike, and he's right. Craziest moments, man who had, his appendage ripped off, and then a 50-person shower. It's just death and debauchery. So Babylon, they did build their Babylon place. This is from Michael Snyder. We do now we know why it was not a good idea to put up a chapel of Babel at Burning Man. It seemed to bring the rain. Thank you, Michael, for that. Michael Snyder. So this is from American Thinker. Burning Man 2022, Dust Devils. So we had the Dust Devils in 2023 or 2022, but this year we had the rains, and so the flood in 2023. I should have. Oh, I'm sorry. 2022 Dust Devils, 2023 flood. I didn't mark that out properly. So Burning Man, known for hedonism and neo-paganism, suffers under the wrath of a flood. When wickedness of man was great on the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of the heart was only evil continually, God sent a flood. When the waters receded, God made a covenant promise recorded in Genesis 9:11, which reads, "And there was a rainbow." Okay, so American Thinker gets this. This is really important that they see what's going on. Thank you, Olivia Murray, for citing these things. So there was the flood. We'll never have a flood again, but they did get the rains. And so they were walking in filth, human filth. So it's just survivalist desert camping. No, no, it's debauchery and death. And we'll see that as we move along through the slides. Okay, so were there more diseases there? No. So this was overwrought. And so there was not any Ebola. There was never any other type of a disease going on there. But I will say this, when you see the signs, when you see these things start to happen, stand up and hold your heads high because you are about to be liberated. That's Luke 21:28. So keep in mind, God's involved in this whole process. So once again, I want you to see that there were double rainbows in 2007 and in 2023. There's a connection between the two of those. And so I just want you to be aware, according to Not a Pilot down on the lower right-hand side, God 1, Burning Man 0. Well, actually, it's God 2, Burning Man 0. So keep that in mind. So now we'll move on to what this other guy brought to my attention. Lots of deaths, okay? So Burning Man 2023 news. Exodus begins after flooding chaos as new details revealed about the festival death. I still don't know who the person was that died, but Tropical Storm Hillary came through and flooded the place out, and then somebody died. Now, we've got 2017, we had Aaron Joel Mitchell, 41, suffered fatal burns as he ran into the fire and died. We'll describe that more later on. And then, meanwhile, 29-year-old Alicia Louise Capiccio died in 2014 when she was hit by a party bus. We'll show you the picture of that. 2003, she was driven over by an art car and was, run over and died. Oh, yeah, okay. And then Michael Furry, a friend of Burning Man co-founder Larry Harvey, was killed in a motorcycle accident in 1996 at Burning Man. So it's consistent all the way through, whether you're running into the fire, who knows why they do that. Death under investigation at Burning Man as thousands stranded. So this is 2023. So these are pictures in the middle there of some of the people that have died at Burning Man, and it's been consistent all the way through. I'm arguing that this has to do with worship. This has to do with Moloch and death and debauchery. So once again, this is the woman killed at Burning Man, had a caring spirit. This is back in 2014, and she was run over by what seems to be one of those cars that they had, and she died. So she was hit by an art car, whatever that happens to be. So that's Alicia, and she's dead now. Reno man, a burner, died in Playa, and so this is Black Rock City. This is back in 2015. There's the picture of the nice guy, Scott, that died. Man found dead at Burning Man under suspicious circumstances, 2019. So he was found dead. Who knows why this particular guy died? But the theme is to burn, and we'll describe that in terms of Moloch and one of the other festivals, the Midsummer Festival. So this fellow, oh goodness, what's the name? Here it is, Aaron Joel Mitchell, ran into the fire. You can see him literally running into the fire. And this is from 2017 again. He jumped into the fire like a head first with open arms, running straight into the active fire, running so fast that no one could hold him. Adventurous, nature-loving athlete who cared about his health, and he died. Interesting. So this is similar to Burning Man. It's called Wicker Man. It's a movie about the Scottish Isles, and they burned people for good crops. And the person, this movie, in the movie, the person that investigated it, the newspaper writer, he was burned in the fire. So you can see the strange masks involved in it, the strange garb involved in it. And this has been going on for hundreds and thousands of years based on Moloch. So there's no difference. God wants an innocent animal. Satan wants an innocent person to be the sacrifice. So keep that in mind. Here's the thing that I wanted to cite before, the Bohemian Grove. They burn an owl every year, and it's been going on for hundreds of years, if not longer than that. So Bohemian Grove is midsummer, and so it's before Burning Man, but it is their way of celebrating midsummer and burning an owl and doing all their debauchery, death and debauchery again. This goes back to after Yeshua was resurrected, and it was Antipas, a hero of faith. He was martyred at the seat of Satan in a high place. So I want you to also see the angle of worship plus high places. This was in the high place in Asia Minor, Turkey, modern day Turkey. And I know where you are living, where the adversary's throne is, Satan's throne is, yet you are holding on to my name. You did not deny trusting me, even at the time when my faithful witness Antipas was put to death in your town where the adversary lives. So Revelation 2:13. So keep in mind, there is an architecture involved in it. There are horses, 4 horsemen, on the ramparts of this structure. And this was on a high place. and I'll show you a high place in the middle in a minute here, Denver, and what went on there that corresponds to this. So basically, Antipas was burned inside a metal structure, and it was a bull, and so it's the same Moloch type thing going on. So once again, there's the Moloch bull, and you can see how Antipas was put inside there, and then they would light a huge fire under the bull. As the fire heated the bronze, the person inside of the bull would slowly begin to roast to death, being burned. And so why then did our president, Obama, choose that martyr scene for his backdrop in a high place in Denver in 2008? Why? And he went to Hitler's throne, which is the same thing in 2019. And he went there on 4/6, which is the first day of Nisan. And I say it's a fifth seal Nazi pattern. Okay, I'm just saying this is fifth seal time. When you talk about the innocent being burned, that is the fifth seal. And it corresponds from Antipas and Asia Minor all the way to Obama, but it's going to continue through. You're going to see more of this going forward. You're going to see more of the innocent being slaughtered. And why? God wants an animal sacrifice. Satan wants a different sacrifice. So what does God want? For the life of the creature is in the blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for yourselves. For it is the blood that makes atonement because of the life. Leviticus 17:11. It constantly plays through all of history. You've got the Moloch side, you've got the God side. God wants you to live. Satan wants you to die, and Satan requires a sacrifice, to a blood sacrifice of the innocent. This is a movie from 1927 called Metropolis, and a very interesting movie where they talk about the workers and basically being slaves, and they're offered up to Moloch, and you can see the symbol of Moloch, the sacrifice of the workers in this case. But this was done by Fritz Lang, a Jewish director, and he knew this was all Moloch. And he had the people up above in the clouds, the people down below, and all the typologies and symbologies. Moloch is the god of a religion that practices human sacrifice, and it was biblical, obviously. So why does Moloch burn an effigy of a man at Burning Man? Because it is worship, it is death debauchery, it is same thing as abortion, same thing as assisted suicide, same thing as war, same thing as gender changing, things like that. So basically, that's what they're going for. They're going for that worship of Moloch. So let's go to our verses again. And this is from Leviticus 18. Do not permit any of your children to be offered as a sacrifice to Moloch, for you must not bring shame on the name of your God. And then he says, I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. So keep in mind, this is similar to the Daniel 3 statue where they were supposed to bow down and worship it. People were supposed to bow down and worship this bull god, which is Moloch. Okay, and then it goes way back to Babylon. So on the photographic cylinder cited there, Babylonian cylinder representing sacrifice of children to Moloch, courtesy of the Jewish Encyclopedia. And so I'm saying that this is the fifth seal, people. This plays right into it. This is, you could call it strange fire. And it is. It's the worship of Moloch. The last day sacrifice is longing for a satanic event. Oh, by the way, Chuck, my buddy Chuck, helped me out with this because I couldn't quite get the connection. So these are his words, basically. The last day sacrifice is their longing for a satanic event. They need that. They lust for it many times during the year. They lust for the innocent blood. They exchange worship for the satanic as they long for the candy, the dessert, the treat, the snack from humans. That humans are offering it. We don't need to do this. We have our God that loves us, but instead we're offering strange fire to Moloch. So you can choose burning curses or life, and they are always lifting their eyes up in worship to Moloch. He's always higher than them. High places, higher Moloch, and so it plays all the way through from Babylon and Nimrod all the way through to modern day times, and it's going to be worse as we head into the fifth seal. Read it yourself, Revelation 9, or rather 6, 9 through 11. What's due next on our calendars then? Okay, we're going into the Jewish New Year, and it's also God's New Year. So that will be Rosh Hashanah, the festival of trumpets, you could call it, but it would really be Yom Teruah. And this is according to Amir Sarfati. Too many Christians are looking at this day on the Hebrew calendar as the day of the rapture because of the reference from the trumpet of God in 1 Thessalonians 4 and 1 Corinthians 15. Here's the problem. Yom Teruah is cited in the Bible in Leviticus 23, as the day of blowing a war or battle call. That's a Teruah call, okay? The problem is the rapture call would be a a shofar of the tekiah type, which is a long, powerful blast. So let me make this very clear. The trumpet of the rapture is the trumpet of God, not one belonging to the Jews who gather in the synagogue to blow a shofar. He's so wrong, but he's trying to keep his base alive. The problem is Amir runs a large group that raises millions of dollars per year. It keeps him in millionaire status, and he has to keep people giving. So he has to say things like this. The rapture requires no specific day on the Hebrew calendar. It is imminent. No one knows the day or the hour. The rapture isn't limited to only 2 days per year. Amir Tasfardi. So bottom line is he's wrong with that. Because God does have these days. These are God's festivals, just like Sabbath is his festival. So keep in mind what's coming up then this month in September in Tishri is during the 18th and the 19th of September. We will have the heads of state and government will gather at UN headquarters in New York to review the implementation of the 2030 agenda, which will basically set up 15-mile cities, 15-minute cities, where you will live very close to, you'll live in prison. Okay, and that's happening very, very quickly here. Also, keep in mind that the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War of 1973 will be celebrated, that Israel won. What an amazing victory. They should have lost. You know, you might slam Nixon, but Nixon did his job well in that case. He listened to his mother's advice, and he sent the weaponry over to Israel, and they were able to win and survive. So God bless them for that. Okay, now what else is coming up? Nishimura, Naked Eye comic, due in September, right on Rosh Hashanah, which is very interesting, on the 15th through the 17th. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not predicting anything, but it could be a sign. It could be a sign. So that's when it's due, right on the 15th through the 17th, and we'll just see what happens. So keep in mind then, so we're going into Tishri, and that would be, I sight the moon through friends, and so we'll see when it actually occurs, and then we'll sight off Yom Kippur, and then the festival of Sukkot, the festival of booths. Keep in mind then that the Noatic flood will be on, of all the times, Halloween, and that will be Cheshvan 17, which is the flood day. So this is an interesting year, and then that would kick off Cheshvan in general, the festivities of the false Sukkot from 1 Kings 12. So just keep in mind that's going to be occurring this year. And in the future, I'm saying that you won't go into the Great Tribulation until at least 2025 or 2026 or 2027 or 2028 for that matter. You have to have a conjunction between a lunar eclipse of course, the full moon, and also a solar activity we'll call a micronova. And the next time that is slated out for is way out in 2025, November, potentially, or March also, but that would be, I would say that the Great Tribulation would start in the fall. So I'm going with 17 Cheshvan of 2025. So we'll see. We're not in the Great Tribulation or even the Tribulation. We're in the birth pangs, people. We're just bouncing along. We seem to be in Seal 4. I'll give you some more evidence on that. We seem to be watching people worshiping Moloch, and the Great Tribulation will come down the line. We are working on our garments. We're trying not to be naked. That's bad. We're trying to have clean garments and the right garments. The garments come from Yeshua. So whether we celebrate his return on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Sukkot, you need to have clean garments. People get thrown out for having their own righteousness at the wedding. You need his righteousness. And it's a wedding, people. So be blessed. Thank you very much for your time. And we'll see you again in a week, hopefully. God bless. Bye-bye.